Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
216. How are we doing tonight? What a night in Canada, unless you're the Toronto Raptors. Welcome to the Block the Shot to Stop, a Cleveland Cavaliers podcast brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. Tim Daniel here with Kevin Lynch, with Skylar Webker. And we are talking for the first time, as you know, we did all the preseason games. So we're finally talking about our first W. And it's the one that actually counts. So that makes it even better. Where the Cleveland Cavaliers open the season going into Toronto, facing the lowly Raptors and winning 136-106. And let's be honest, that game was over about 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. That was over with. But
are we having fun, guys?
We're having fun.
Having fun.
That was gosh, dudes, just such an awesome game. So many performances to talk about. We're going to get to all of them before we wrap up tonight. But obviously, I feel like we're doing a disservice to Cavaliers podcasting if we don't start the show with our prop bet of the day, Evan frickin' Mobley. So I put it on our on the network, on the Twitter account, which you can follow us at the Block the Stop. I said Evan Mobley over 25.5 points and rebounds tonight for the whole game. He had 25 combined points and rebounds at halftime. And that was just the beginning. He kept going in the third quarter and was unbelievable tonight. Everything that we've said we needed to see from Evan Mobley, we got glimpses of tonight. And now I understand this is the first game of the year. We got 81 more of these at the minimum. But holy crap, what a stamp of approval. What a way to say I have arrived. And you know who really was sick of Evan Mobley? Scotty Barnes was pretty sick of Evan Mobley.
He got tied up so many times just defensively. Couldn't stop anything on the offense. It was a long night for Scotty Barnes.
It was.
Gosh. Dude, he hit a three. He attacked the rim. I mean, first possession of the game, he gets to the rim, misses the layup, gets 2 rebounds, and puts it back in. And you're like, oh, this is different immediately.
I wrote a note. He went 1 for 3 with 2 rebounds and 2 points on the first possession.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you have to start with Mobley. He was the best player on the floor tonight, and second place wasn't even that close. Obviously, he was incredible offensively, looked just so much more polished than he did last year, and comfortable and confident. And then combined with his defense, I mean, we said one of the big question marks, maybe the biggest question mark with his team is perimeter defense, guarding some of the wings and stuff. Well, he's the one out there guarding the wings and blocking shots, getting steals. I mean, he was everywhere, and really, really good sign for the Cavs out of the gate to have Mobley be the best player on the floor.
No doubt. He finished with a plus 31 on his plus minus. That's getting it done.
That's getting it done.
It is. And you're right. And even little things like he was 6 for 6 on free throws. Not that he was a bad free throw shooter, but like even looked more confident shooting free throws. Like everything we've seen in the preseason and then especially tonight just screams that he's going to take a gigantic leap this year.
Yeah. What's so crazy about that point is that Jared Allen was also tremendous tonight.
Yeah.
Also very good. And you're like, oh, okay, well, this is why. So you've heard a lot of the banter from the national media as far as the Cavs could be the number 2 seed in the East. The Cavs could be the number 2 seed in the East. Cavs could be number 2 seed in the East. And tonight kind of showed that, yeah, they realistically could be the number 2 seed in the East. If Boston takes a couple nights off, who knows? Maybe they could get the 1 seed. Obviously, a lot of time to go before then. But what you saw tonight with Mobley kind of being the focal point of the offense and everyone playing off him. And look, we're still talking about, we haven't even mentioned Donovan Mitchell's name yet. And he was also Donovan Mitchell tonight for most stretches of the game. And we're talking about the fact that they really did not have Darius Garland a whole lot tonight. and because of foul trouble, and they were still able to just kind of like play through Mobley and just make everything happen. It's just amazing. I mean, the first quarter, it's really, really close, and you can kind of see it's like, I wasn't too concerned. It's like, oh, they're probably getting their legs underneath them. I thought they were going to pull away. I did think they were going to pull away the way they did, though.
Mm-hmm.
That second quarter was a Cavaliers, man.
Yeah.
They just kept hitting them where it hurt, just kept getting it, kept getting fast break points, kept getting easy dunks, just woo.
And everyone that stepped on the floor contributed, really. And yeah, as you said, Garland barely played maybe a minute or so in the second quarter, but you got to see a glimpse of like their depth. Like Merrill had really good showing. Levert was good. Niang was even doing some really positive things out there, and it just it shows what the ceiling of this team could be, or at least what close to the ceiling this could be. Like, just if you add in a not in foul trouble, healthy, productive Darius Garland.
Yeah.
And even in foul trouble, because both him and Merrill got in foul trouble in that first half, every single Cavalier besides Craig Porter Jr. and Tristan Thompson there at garbage time, every single Cavalier is positive on their plus minus.
Yeah.
So even with the foul trouble, they were still getting it done.
You know how much things have changed is last year the Cavs had to rely on Tristan Thompson in the playoffs. This year he didn't get until 8 minutes to go in the fourth when they were up nearly 30. Things are going in the right way.
They were, and I had something I wanted to ask you all about. It seems like a good time to transition. Like I was mostly looking at like the rotate. What I wanted to look at tonight was the rotations, like who was playing with which of the bench guys are playing so much. In the second half, it kind of becomes irrelevant with the big lead and everything. But in the first half, I found it really interesting that Merrill played like 9 of the first like 15 minutes, and then he got those 3 fouls or something, and had to come out. But like, kind of showed you, I think they're thinking he's going to be a really big part of the team this year. And on the flip side, like Okoro did not play much until the game was kind of out of reach, which kind of surprised me.
Me too.
And it could be a matchup thing. You know, Raptors don't have some of those guys in the wings that Okoro is kind of the Cavs' secret weapon for. But yeah, I just thought it was really interesting. I mean, you knew Levert would play a lot, but like they went to Niang off the bench and Merrill off the bench before they went to Okoro. I was going to see what you all thought of that.
I was surprised because, you and I just had that conversation on Monday's show about who's going to be the starting 3 between Wade and Okoro. And your point was, well, Okoro does something that really complements the big 4. Mm-hmm. And you were right. So I kind of figured if he wasn't starting, he'd be the first 3 off the bench. Mm-hmm. And obviously Karis LeVert was, and we'll get to his performance here in a little bit. But I thought that was surprising. But also I thought Dean Wade really did a great job in those minutes as well. But to see Okoro kind of not necessarily be buried, quote unquote, but not be one of the first guys off the bench for the second unit was a little surprising.
Yeah, I'd agree. I was surprised that they didn't go to Okoro because the Raptors have a lot of young, lengthy, athletic guys that love to shoot the perimeter, and that's Okoro's bread and butter. Mm-hmm. Between Emmanuel Quickley and Boucher, which every time they said that on the broadcast, I just kept thinking of the water boy.
As you should.
So yeah, I was surprised to not see Okoro in kind of a more apparent role coming off.
Yeah, Chris Boucher, the Toronto Raptors franchise leader in bench points. We learned that this evening. Thank goodness we now have that knowledge to hold on. And it's one game. I mean, we'll talk about more maybe after 7 to 10 games. The rotation, it could very much be a matchup thing, but nonetheless, I think it showed the Cavs have options with their depth to match up with other teams. I mean, the 4 guys, barring foul trouble, are going to play, 35-ish minutes a game. But all the rest, the 5th starter and all the guys off the bench, they can kind of mix and match whether it's to play the hot hand, match up against the other team and what they're trying to do. So it was a really good sign to get good performances from pretty much everyone that's going to be in the regular rotation.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do you guys want to go from here? There's so many guys we can talk about. Yeah, please do.
Go for it.
Well, I got two. The one I want to give is Ty Jerome looked better tonight than he did all of preseason.
Yes.
That was when that rotation came into the second, I think it was the second half or the second quarter. It was Garland and Ty Jerome and Dean Wade. It was just kind of a weird kind of rotation, and Ty really made the most of that. He was getting passes, he was hitting his shots. Like, if this is the Ty Jerome we get, my prediction of what they need goes out the window, because that's what we need is somebody that was a facilitator that could hit the shot when it was given to him.
I absolutely love, not to talk over Kevin, because I'm going to let you get to your point, but I just love every time that Skylar gets fired up, he says we. It just makes me so happy.
We're all on this team.
We're part of the team. We're part of.
What was that? When LeBron went back, that one commercial where they had that was like the incredible Nike commercial for Cleveland, where it's the whole city has their hand in for the huddle. Yeah, that's Skylar.
It's absolutely me.
Yeah, no, Ty Jerome, like everybody else, he looks good tonight. I thought that was as good as Ty Jerome has looked in the NBA, to be honest. So maybe he had some moments with the Warriors a couple years back, but that was a pretty bad Warriors team.
Yeah.
But I think Ty Jerome, like a lot of the guys on the bench, will be really valuable in certain matchups. I think there's going to be nights where Ty Jerome, it's just not there, and he plays 6 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And then there's going to be other nights where he gets 20 plus minutes and has an opportunity to put up some of the stats he put up tonight. And to his credit, took full advantage of that opportunity tonight.
Cindy says, who needs Mike Conley? They have Ty Jerome. I like it. I like it. Mike Conley didn't look too good last night, but
neither. Hey, fun fact, neither of them have ever been an all-star, right?
Mike Conley was actually an alternate recently. Yeah, a couple years ago.
Threw him on the last team just because it came a story. You're right. Do
you think Mitchell would if they were like, hey, we're going to get Mike Conley, I think Mitchell would be like, nah, I'm good. We did that before. It wasn't fun.
I don't think Conley was an issue out there.
No, not at all. I'm just goofing around.
Yeah. I had one thing I wrote down, kind of going back to like rotations and everything. It's one kind of twofold thing. One, I was interested. You knew once they started subbing, they were going to keep two of the big four in together, have two go to the bench, and I was kind of curious, like what was going to be the mix match. And tonight it was Garland and Jared Allen together. Where I feel like in the past it's been more Garland with Mobley.
Yep.
And so I guess we'll go there and let you all talk to that. What do you think of when they do start to sub and they keep two of the four in, pairing Garland and Allen and then Mobley and Mitchell together?
I like it because in reality, let's be honest, if Mitchell and Mobley play to their ceiling, the Cavs are a totally different team. Those two are the two players with the highest ceiling for the team. And those are the two guys they need the most from. And so you're right. Like last year, their best two-man lineups were Mitchell and Allen. But it's also a different coaching style, different coaching system. I mean, if you remember, obviously they went on that 18-1 run when Garland and Mobley got hurt. But at this point now, they kind of go where those two go at this point. And I think when the offense, who the coach is and who the staff is, and I think that's going to be that's their ceiling. If those two are the all-stars that we predicted them to be, this team is very different looking.
I agree. I like the two-man kind of rotation. It's also great when you get all four of them in, because when that third quarter came and all four of those guys were just humming, that was awesome to see. As far as who it is, I just want the offense to keep flowing, because that's a problem that we had for the past couple of years, where as soon as either some of these guys came out or all of them, it was very clunky, forced offense, where tonight felt so fluid, so much ball movement, just like nothing felt forced in this offense.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And it kind of goes along those lines, but the one other thing I wanted to throw out at you guys, we'll do it this way. I'll let you guess. Obviously, Mobley is the person you're most excited tonight about.
For sure.
Who do you think, whether it's who you think or who do you think I'm going to say I was second most excited by their performance tonight?
Karis LeVert.
Skylar?
Oh, first good guess. I'm going to go Dean Wade.
All right. Well, I totally tricked you both. It's Kenny Atkinson.
I was going to, nice.
And I will tell you, it's little things. He found ways to mix and match so that the lineups all complemented each other. And I think that's been a problem with the Cavs in the past, like too much redundancy and everything. So like when he did take Mitchell and Mobley out at the same time, who are your two best players, in my opinion, and your two biggest threats offensively, he brought in LeVert and Merrill, arguably their best two offensive players off the bench to counter that. Yeah. Where I feel like in the past they would bring in an Okoro or something who's a little bit more defensive minded and things like that. Just like the way he went through the rotations and everything, it seemed very mindful, very strategic, very thought out. And I thought, everybody has opinions on NBA coaching. It's either the hardest thing or the easiest thing in the world, but yeah, I thought tonight, and there were seeds of it in the preseason, but I thought Kenny Atkinson came in with a plan that worked well, and he put the players and the team in a great position to have success.
How about that so far? The two highest profile coaching hires in the NBA this offseason, probably the two best game plans to start the year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun.
It is fun. I can't think of another way. Like, it's so fun. Like, it's just what that like new breath of fresh air, or that new. It just shows that coaching is very much important in the NBA. Because I feel like we kind of got into an era where the coaching really didn't matter. The stars could just take over and carry a team. I mean, we were benefits of that for sure. But it's great to see that the coaching aspect of the game is the relevancy is back.
I think the reason people think that, Skylar, is because the coaching during the game is not the first, second, or third most important time they're coaching, right? It's in practice, it's in film sessions, it's meeting with the coaches to talk about like strategy and rotations and putting the team for success. In game, yeah, they might draw up some out of bounds plays and like call some stuff and everything, but like, and that's what we're all seeing. So they're like, oh, like they're not doing that much. But like, I think Kenny Atkinson, he did a great job tonight because he obviously had a really good plan that he developed and he put the seeds of it in practice and in the preseason. And that's why everything looked as good as it did tonight. And I am most encouraged by Evan Mobley. It'd be crazy to say that isn't, but like, I'm super encouraged by Kenny Atkinson.
I love it. I was gonna have a whole segment on Kenny Atkinson tonight anyway, so that was perfect. Do you think that's the fact that Tabari Carroll's on the staff, he's finally like happy that he's on the right side of the Raptors Cavs rivalry? Because he was on all those teams that like LeBronto, he just was on all those teams that got their butts kicked by LeBron, and now finally he's like, oh, thankfully this is what it's like over here.
I tell you what, I thought Darius Garland was in the beginning, he's like, I want to get out of this building as fast as possible.
Yeah. He's like, bad memories. Who was it? I think Evan Dameron said that he asked him in the media yesterday if he was going to wear goggles.
From the last rated eye last year.
Yeah.
2
years ago. So that was pretty funny. By the way, Kevin, your all-time favorite, Cam Thomas, 36 points tonight. So
guys, he hasn't found a shot he didn't like.
That's 100% accurate. Let's get to Mitchell. I thought, for how great Mobley was, and he was the best player tonight, I thought Mitchell was right behind him as far as the second best player. 7 of 14 from the floor, 21 points, 2 of 5 from deep. Really aggressive. Kind of probably had the play that changed the game there at the end of the first when he gets that layup and he gets tripped up.
Yeah.
And and then he kind of so then he's kind of moves everything into the right direction. That's kind of where the run starts, because it's the end of the first. It gives them the slim lead, and they don't give the lead back up the rest of the game. You know what you're getting on a nightly basis with Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, there's a reason we talk about him as a potential All-NBA candidate. There's a reason we talk about him as an All-Star. There's a reason he has his own sneaker. But he's kind of finding a situation where all those really good Utah teams he had good offensive players with him, the Joe Ingles and guys like that. He's playing on a much higher ceiling now. And the fact that he's kind of orchestrating this and leading the way and knows when to be the second guy and also knows when to be the first guy is pretty impressive. And I thought that he was really, really good tonight.
He also finished plus 31.
Him
and Mobley finished with the same plus minus. Yeah, I mean, we know what Mitchell is, and Boucher was. There's nothing he could do. No. I mean, he was wearing Boucher out, attacking from just driving to the paint, causing fouls, shooting threes. There's nothing. I mean, Boucher had to look at the coach and go, "What do you want me to do?"
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, the reason we're not leading with Donovan Mitchell like alongside Mobley is because Donovan Mitchell looked like the Donovan Mitchell we've seen before. Evan Mobley looked like an even better version of the Evan Mobley we've seen before, right? The one thing I would like to point out, because it's something we talked about as a key to the season, it's Mitchell I thought his decision making was fantastic as far as deciding the times to be really aggressive and the times to show a little patience, because this team does have a lot of talented players, a lot of really skilled offensive players, and they don't need him shooting 30 shots every night. So I really liked his decision making. I thought he kind of let the game come to him at first, and then you're right, he became really aggressive kind of end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter, right when he subbed back in the game, and that's when the run started, as Skylar said, the Cavaliers.
The Cavaliers. Did you make that, by the way?
No, that was good. It was all over Twitter anytime the Cavs get hot.
Can you trademark it still, or is it?
Try.
Yeah. Can you look that up tomorrow? To see if we can kind of make T-shirts with it.
Yeah. And the other guys of our core four, like we touched on Garland getting into foul trouble early. He still led the team in assists tonight. He still was able to facilitate. The shooting numbers weren't there, but he was still able to do enough to provide Jared Allen with these easy lobs. And
oh my God.
I mean, maestro tonight.
Yeah.
His ability to attack the paint tonight was the best I think I've seen from him probably since his All-Star year. Just the fact that he just ran at the rim and made the defender make a decision. It was awesome.
And I agree. He is a very good 3-point shooter, but his most valuable skill for this team is attacking the baskets to hit the floaters, hit the lobs to everybody, and then hit the Mitchell or Merrill or somebody spotting up on the weak side. He is great at breaking people down. He's a fantastic passer, and as good a shooter and scorer as he is, I think that's the skill that really stands out that this team needs the most, because they have a lot of guys that can score. They don't have anybody other than Mitchell that can break down a defense like Garland can.
Yeah, he's such an underrated ball handler too.
Yeah,
I mean, his handles are pretty impressive. I wouldn't put him up there with like Curry and Kyrie by any means, but
I was gonna say, as Cavs fans, I think we got spoiled with Kyrie.
That's true.
Years.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, just such a fun night. And then I thought he was awesome. So we talked about Jared Allen for a quick, brief moment, but just to make sure we give him his flowers. 14 and 7 tonight, 4 of 5 from the line, was really, really good, and 4 block shots. Mobley had 3, and he had 4. So kind of like we talked about with Mitchell to a lesser extent, you know what you're getting with Jared Allen, but I thought he was terrific tonight. I thought that he attacked the rim really well. I thought he knew what he cut really well. We didn't see that like Tim Daniel loving high-low offense, but we didn't need it tonight. And but there were a couple of plays that him and Garland they had that connection, and they were really, really good together.
How about Jared Allen trying to hit a spin move on a big there?
Yeah,
to get to the rim. He lost the handle on it, but that's not stuff we were seeing before.
Yeah, no, you're right. Jared Allen, kind of like Mitchell, looked exactly like the Jared Allen that we're used to. I mean, he was great, and we talked about, like, I know Skylar and I were kind of going back and forth on the preview pod about like, what is this team going to be spectacular at, kind of thing. And I think it's going to be interior defense combined with like owning the glass. They were up they had a 7 or 8, I forget. It was right about that rebounding advantage when the game got out of hand. And then they had 7 block shots between Allen and Mobley. Toronto, I don't know what the percentage was of shooting at the rim, but it wasn't high.
Nope.
For sure. Those guys played, just owned anywhere on the bat tonight.
Yeah, it was absolutely awesome. Let's wrap it up with today's performance. Talk about LeVert, obviously, because we could go all night. We talk about who did what and how great they were. But Caris LeVert, 19 points, 4 assists, 8 of 9 from the floor. I really wanted him to get that perfect game because that last shot was like a little floater, a little layup, and it just didn't go through. Just kind of rolled out. But Kevin, to kind of piggyback off what you said about Garland being, this is what you need Darius Garland to be. This is what they need Caris LeVert to be. He needs to be this off the bench playmaker for this team to kind of hit the levels they want to hit. And he definitely did that tonight on the first game. We talked about Jerome, obviously, too, who's probably just as good. You can make the case. But what they got from those two, as far as the guards in the second unit to kind of lead the way and kind of give the Garlands and Mitchells a breather, you couldn't ask for much more. Maybe just they each hit one more shot, obviously, but they were tremendous. I mean, LeVert was awesome as a playmaker. He was awesome as a scorer. Just excellent. And such a good, underrated defender, too.
Yeah, no, he absolutely he filled another guy filled his role perfectly tonight, and kind of as you're talking about all the bench contributions, everything. The one other thing I wanted to mention and see how much you all noticed it, was and how contagious the effort was on defensively, the amount of high fives.
Yeah.
People every time one of the guys in the game went past the bench, they're all over. It looked more like a college team than an NBA team. I've watched most of the NBA games that have happened these first 2 days. I don't think I've seen another team with that kind of just spirit and energy at the NBA level. I think it's there's something going on with this team in that regard.
It must be an Atkinson thing. Because remember that Brooklyn team that he had that was super fun and they were super with Rondé Hollis Jefferson? Yeah. They were so fun on the bench. I feel like maybe it's an Atkinson thing.
Yeah, it could be an Atkinson thing. It could be we've been together, we're going to be together, continuity thing. But yeah, these guys look like they're having fun.
Yeah.
And it's clearly translating.
Yeah. And when they're having fun, we're having fun. All right, guys. So we see the Cavs back on the floor on Friday. Their home opener.
And
go ahead, Kevin. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
They will be hosting the old friend JB and the Detroit Pistons at Rocket Mortgage Field House. I guess I won't call it the Q tonight. It's the Q. Pistons did lose tonight to the Pacers at home, but Cade Cunningham was awesome in the second half. So that Pistons team is not. We talked about this after the preseason game. That Pistons team is a team that you can't take lightly. You can't go in there and think that all right, well, we had a great first game and we can go out here and just be just fine, roll the ball out on Friday. They're going to play up for that. And so I'm really excited to see, this is definitely a better Pistons team. If they keep this energy level up, I suspect they will because they're going to be fired up to be at home for the first game. But it's going to be a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be a different matchup in the sense of we know that JB is very defensive minded and he's going to get the most defensively out of these guys. So can the Atkinson jetpack offense either outscore them or break down these defensive schemes that JB's going to come up with? Will Evan Mobley continue to be that pillar? Yeah, that's the key to watch in my mind.
No, I those are great points. I was thinking of, as Tim was saying it, Cade Cunningham, who in the Cavs guards him, because that's the kind of guy, the 6'7" guy with a lot of ball handling skills, to see who's going to guard him. the Raptors don't really have a guy like that. Scotty Barnes isn't quite that, but like Cade Cunningham, he's incredibly talented, been slowed in his career by injuries, but like he's one of those prime breakout guys this year. He is kind of the type of player I'm wondering, how the Cavs will match up with.
Curious if they bring Mobley out to guard him.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I'm really curious if they do, because the size advantage obviously he has over DG and over Mitchell, and you don't have Strus back yet. It's going to be really interesting. I'm really excited for that. I'm kind of seeing, I don't know how you guys feel. You guys might know this about me. I'm a huge Jalen Duren fan. I really like Jalen Duren. So really excited to see how he fares against Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. He had 13 and 13 tonight.
Yeah, put up a double-double.
Yeah. Also, poor James Wiseman got hurt tonight after having an awesome start to their game. It was really, really good and got hurt. So hopefully it's nothing serious. But I think that's going to be a really fun early matchup for them. First Central Division game. The crowd's going to be insane. They're going to definitely have that behind them. So I'm really excited for it. I did want to get to this real quick. Sydney asked, any chance on Friday they switch to LeVert at the 3 on Friday over Wade? That I would normally say no. I think there will be Wade starting just because I think they're going to want to keep the continuity. But in this exact question we're having a conversation about right now, that's your Cade Cunningham guy. That's your guy who guards Cade Cunningham.
That's a good matchup right there. The one thing that we have to keep in our heads about LeVert, because we've seen this with LeVert, he'll go and get 40 in Boston one night and then get 1 the next night, and that's a legitimate. That's a legitimate back-to-back that happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what you hope with LeVert is because you need to ask a little bit less of him than previous teams have had to ask of him, that he can be more consistent with what you are asking of him. So, but you're right, incredibly talented guy who's sometimes been just kind of up and down with performances. But you would hope, Karis, we need you to come play 20-25 minutes on the bench, contribute 15 points, play good defense, and do that every night, basically.
Yeah, and I think he can. I think like we've led into this season, he is the perfect man to fill the 6-man role for this team.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, we're finally here. The Cavs are 1-0. The block the shot to stop is 1-0 on prop bets. This is a good start to the year, folks. We're doing it. We're doing the damn thing. So I'm really excited. Such a fun night. Cannot wait to be back on Friday. Hopefully talking about a 2-0 start going into Saturday. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up here. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Definitely appreciate it. Shout out Sydney in the chat for always hanging out with us and being a true friend. It's definitely appreciated. We'll be back on Friday, but on the time being, be sure to give us a follow on all our socials. Be sure to follow us on YouTube and give us a subscription. And if you have anything you want to reach out to us, just hit us all up. We are all around all the socials. So on behalf of Kevin and Skylar, this is Tim Daniel. Have a great night.
Go Cavs.